Can you just come towards me just a little bit?
Oh, please. I've been goosed ever since I've been... don't touch my arse. Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News for You. I'm Brian Blessed. It's me. Now, in the news this week, the polls continue to slide for Gordon Brown. And some people are saying he's dead and buried. But I think the opposite. I say, Gordon's alive! My darlings! Also in the news, with his second birthday coming up, Hammy the hamster dropped several hints that he wants a wheel. And disaster strikes at an open-air pool in Dorset as the attendant starts hoovering the leaves before the last swimmer is out. Fuck.
Right, calm down.
Quick, the fucking
taser! Get a taser!
The fucking thing was too slow. I'm fucking trying to...
Get a taser!
The fucking thing was... Here we go. And disaster strikes at an open-air pool in Dorset as the attendant starts hoovering the leaves before the last swimmer is out. On Ian Hislop's team tonight is a Conservative MP who once allowed his Westminster house to be used by John Major. Luckily, Norma never found out. Please welcome Alan Duncan, MP. And with Paul Merton tonight is a comedian whose best friend once told him, if they're not laughing, it's not comedy. Well, either that, or you're just not speaking loudly enough! Welcome, Marcus Brigstone! Now, in round one, we cover the biggest stories of the week. Ian and Alan, take a look at this.
That's Flash Gordon. There he is.
Oh, Lord Cashpoint. Yeah, asking for more. Oh, it's the back rubber.
That's one way of putting it. And there's a balloon debate.
And they're having a smoochy one.
I mean, this is Gordon Brown's worst week in politics since last week. So this week, Brown has been...
It's good.
Hello,
It's good.
Paul.
Carry on. It's
I'm
wonderful.
I'm big fan.
Rave reviews. Rave reviews.
Shut your face. It says that extracts from Lord Levy's book were printed in the Sunday papers.
Oh.
Blair apparently said Brown couldn't beat Cameron. Alan, any views on that?
Well, you know, I was the marvellous Prime Minister, you know, just... you know...
Who's that? What were some of the other revelations in the book? I'm going to chin you if you don't watch it.
He said that Blair had a lot of massage from Carol Kaplan, and he had to say, this is getting embarrassing. And apparently Tony was very red-faced about it.
He also revealed that Brown thought Mandelson had been spreading rumours that Brown was gay. I mean, that's not the Mandelson we all know, is it, Alan? Can I comment on that?
I think I might give that one a miss.
Oh, right, I'll press it.
No, Brian, you don't then let him give it a miss. What you do is you refer to him again and say...
I refer to you, Ian, I refer to you.
And then you say, but surely it's quite interesting if Peter Mandelson is spreading rumours that Gordon Brown is gay. Is that not of interest?
So, you're supposed to be on my side.
What gave you that impression?
we let them be nasty to each other. But in the Conservative Party, we all love each other.
Right.
I mean, not like that, but you know what I mean.
Well, a bit like that. I mean, it's a new Liberal Tory party, isn't it?
No, just me.
I suppose you are the only gay Tory, aren't you?
Actually, there are...
Are you gay?
Brian, you'd never guess you were an actor.
So this week, Brown has been putting on a brave face. But what might have wiped the smile off his face?
It might be Mayor Bojo, even as we speak.
Bojo?
When you've got initials like that, you can't use them on their own.
Right, and during the campaign, who did Boris claim was the first member of his team?
Oh, Kate Howie. Hooey.
Hoey.
Hoey. Is it?
Hooey. She's a neighbour.
That's not another street name for her, is it?
Coho.
Yeah, no, she's... She is on the Olympic Committee, but I think that's a bit unfair.
Now, what did Brian Paddock say about Kate Hoey? Now, let's have a look.
Kate Hoey is my local MP. I worked with her very closely when I was in the police. And to be honest with you, she's bonkers.
And how else did Boris attempt to impress voters this week? Well, let's have a look.
OK.
Sorry.
Boris was a prefect at Eton, though, wasn't he?
Yes.
That's why he was no good at the basketball thing, because he's only ever played that game with a third former's head.
Yeah. It's just a disaster, isn't it? He's going to go off and do something surprising and extraordinary, and people are going to go, oh, no, he's a fucking idiot.
The Daily Mail helpfully provided a London election Q&A section on Wednesday. Now, the questions they addressed were, how does the London election work? What happens if I vote for the same candidate twice? What should I do if I want to get rid of Ken? If he's to stand any chance of turning things around to win the next election, Gordon Brown has a huge mountain to climb. Ooh, lucky bastard. Now, this week... I get terrible wind. This week has seen some crucial local elections. At one point, the London election was too close to call. But if it goes to a recount, my money's on Zanu PF. Boris Johnson was photographed on a special Back Boris campaign bus. And, of course, at the front of the bus, it bears a reminder, Front Boris. Whether London ends up with Boris or Ken, there will definitely be more police officers on the streets. Brian Paddock, for a start. Paul and Marcus, here's yours.
A Polish shop, or a Polish shop, presumably, Polish writing, so it must be Polish. We're off, mate. This country's rubbish. Cheerio. It's just about Polish people leaving England and going back to Poland.
Going over there, leaving us jobs.
Taking away the smell of their cooking.
Yeah. Taking their polski sklep with them. That's a lovely word, sklep, isn't it?
Yes, what's that mean?
I've absolutely no idea. My guess is it's some form of sausage or boiled dumpling.
This is the shocking news that immigrants are now emigrating. Now, who said... Man, who says so?
The IPPR, which is a Labour think tank.
God, you are brilliant.
IPPR.
So now our plumbers won't be able to speak English anymore.
Well, I'm not sure they ever really could, but...
That was the joke.
yeah, oh, it's... Yeah.
Could you give us a verbal signal when you've done
Like,
it?
away! Like this!
Bloody hell, my job's impossible here.
No, it's just the way you're doing it.
I know, I'm doing it. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here.
Do you know, I'm thinking exactly the same. You're doing all right.
I'm doing all right. How many marks out of 10? Don't tell me the truth. I don't want the truth. 8.
Can I just say, darling, you were very brave.
Stop it.
Sorry.
Why isn't this as good news as it sounds?
What?
I've thrown it away.
Oh, I see.
I've thrown it away. I'm buggered if I know what it was about. I've thrown it away, love.
About the Polish people going back to Poland?
Yeah, yes.
Is it because they haven't finished your conservatory?
Why are all these Poles going home?
They think there's too many immigrants here.
What did Pieter Zepsel say in The Sun this week?
I've lost my zloty.
My favourite thing about Britain is the cooked breakfast. I love watching Arsenal on TV and a pint in the pub when I have time. I also enjoy reading The Sun, especially stuff about British politics and the economy. They've got very good eyesight, the Poles, aren't they?
Excellent eyesight. They're known for
I mean, well, considering they're at it all the time. No, that's deafness. You get deaf, don't you, if you shag too much.
2:30.
Who's been misbehaving with an immigrant, my old son?
Lord Laidlaw?
Richard Barnbrook, the London mayoral candidate from the BNP.
Oh, yes.
He was having an affair with a nurse from Finland called Annika Tambilempi. It sounds like something from IKEA, doesn't it? Now, she told the News of the World, Richard sent me photos of his private parts before I'd even met him. I thought this was very odd for a politician. She hasn't been here very long, has she? She then found a copy of Hitler's Mein Kampf under his bed and said, if I'd known before that he was a sleazebag, I probably wouldn't have gone anywhere near him. So the photo of his knackers weren't a giveaway. This is terrible. Absolutely disgraceful, the way people behave. And keep your knackers in your underpants, you dirty bugger. Now, who's been refused entry to Britain this week? Who's been refused entry to Britain this week?
Cleric?
What the fuck's happened to you? You faded since the beginning.
I'm so sorry.
You're doing fuck all at the moment. Shall I tell you?
Yes.
You don't know,
Cleric.
do you? Right. No. I love it with these eggheads when I win.
You're the chairman, you're not meant to win.
I'm not meant to win.
You've got the
I
answers.
don't get any points.
No.
Don't I say to
That
you...
would
you-
rather ruin the quiz, since you're reading out the question and
Don't-
answer.
But don't I say, I mean, you may not confer? Did I say that? No, I don't. No, that's
No,
not
you
it.
can say anything you like, and have, I think.
Well, here's the information.
OK, give us a clue.
I'm not going to give you nothing. Osama bin Laden's son, Dave.
Dave?
No. I knew you'd fall for that. Yeah, I knew it. No, it's not Dave, it's Omar.
Omar, he's making eyes at me.
What's his argument for being let in?
But it's not his fault who his father is.
That's right, you're spot on. He doesn't think his dad's done anything wrong. You're quite right, Ian.
No, I'm not. I,
mean,
didn't say that at all. I said it's not his fault who his father is. I didn't say his father's done nothing wrong. That would have lined me up in a rather extreme company.
Back to the telly, I can read this. Now, This is the news that fewer East European immigrants are coming to Britain, and many of those who did come are now leaving. Many people are now realising that you can actually make a lot more money by going abroad, like this man. The Independent asked the big question. What if all the Poles went home? Well, they'd have nothing to fly that flag on for a start. Meanwhile, a BNP mayoral candidate, Richard Barnbrook, has been cheating on his fiancée with a Finnish immigrant he met on the internet. She told the News of the World Richard is average in bed. I think we'd all be pleased with that. I know I would. But I don't need that pill. I don't need the blue pill. Any bird
How do we
watching?
get out of here? How do we get out?
What about the pink pill that says tranquilizer?
Ian and Alan.
Horse dosage.
Have you always been shy?
Yes, I have. Yes, I didn't know what was going to happen tonight. I was going to be very serious, you know. But there it is. I mean, something happens. It's this chair. You see, this is the chair that Anne Whitcomb sat on, isn't it? You can feel the vibrations going up my arse. I also have to say, Paul.
Yes.
That I was very jealous because you said, because I rather fancied you myself, and I was astonished to hear that you said you'd fallen in love with Anne on that programme.
Did I?
You did, you said you loved her. I mean, I just was hoping you might say something like that to me.
Well, if I said it to Anne Widdecombe, the chances are I'll say it to you as well. There's no worries about that. No worries.
Very unfair.
Ian and Alan, here's another for you, love.
Dosh. Petrol prices.
Fuel tax protest. I've just read that.
Grangemouth Refinery on strike. Queues for petrol.
Don't panic. You're spokesman for this. What
Yes.
would the Tories do?
Well, I think I would have interposed myself between them and helped them negotiate.
Is that it?
Yeah,
That would have stopped the strike, would it?
undoubtedly.
No more final salary pensions?
Well, then I've remembered I used to be an oil trader.
I'm glad you brought that
I
up.
thought you would.
Now, you worked for that bloke who got put in prison, didn't you?
Never ended up in prison.
Didn't he?
No.
No, he ran away first, didn't
Yes.
he?
Now, who's happy about the soaring price of oil?
Nobody.
Oh, come on, BP, Shell.
Are they making £3 million an hour?
But it says here that oil companies Shell and BP have made a combined $7.2 billion in 3 months, which works out at $3.3 million an hour. I mean, who the hell do they think they are? Tesco's? I mean, every little helps. Why don't they give me that voiceover instead of him?
You can record one now, I'm sure they'll hear it.
Every little helps. Meanwhile, there was a 2-day strike at the Grangemouth Oil Refinery in Scotland over workers' pensions. And why did the publication this week of the Sunday Times Rich List not help?
Because the man who owns the refinery was in it.
He's worth squillions. I'd never heard of him before, had you? The man
No,
who
but then
owns
I'm not
Guinness.
front bench spokesman for industry. And there's only one pipeline, which again I don't think anyone knew. There's all our oil, and there's one
to
little
Grangemouth.
pipeline for the whole country, and someone's turned it off.
You shut down everything.
Doesn't seem a very good idea, does it?
You want to tell the unions that?
Again, I'm not the front bench spokesman.
You know, there really is a petrol crisis when motorists in Scotland start panic buying, with some putting in as much as £5 worth. Now, newspapers have been doing their bit to calm motorists with headlines like, "Petrol! We're running out! Strike! Sports fuel shortage fears! Will fuel stocks run dry?" And I'm all right. The Express has had some fuel-saving tips for its readers this week. A car consumes the most petrol when it accelerates. That's brilliant. According to the law of physics, force equals mass times acceleration. Or, as the Daily Star put it, for their readers, vroom! You're getting your money's worth because that's my boss Nash from Star Wars. You want to get... No end to my talents. Now...
Brian?
Yes?
What do you like when you're drunk?
The price of petrol has gone up. Crikey! And I thought Everest was steep.
You tried to climb that once, didn't you?
Were you worried about avalanches?
Yes. I'm here! Paul and Marcus, here's another story of the week. Here we go, my old sons.
This is, well, obviously a prison officer walking around. That's my stereo, that's my telly. This is prison cells, about how, probably one of those stories, and this is the title sequence from Porridge. This is probably one of those stories about prisoners having it cushy because they've got electricity in their cell.
You go in and get us a chocolate on your pillow.
I think you'll find it's prison slang.
You're quite right. This is the news that prisoners are turning down the chance to escape from jail. But according to the Telegraph, a drug dealer regularly broke into a Yorkshire jail using a ladder to climb the walls and supply inmates with drugs and mobile phones. Yet none of the prisoners chose to leave by the same method. Now, according to the Mail, the dealer also sold women's clothing to a transvestite prisoner. I bet he's popular.
And prostitutes as well, apparently.
Yes, the prostitutes have recently been smuggled into the prison at Sudbury in Derbyshire.
You see, that may be the answer to the overcrowding. It may be that they count heads while the prostitutes are in there. They should do a second...
A head count?
Yeah.
Now, what did inmates at a top security prison liken it to?
Usually a hotel, isn't it? Usually a hotel, it's like a
Holiday
Butlins
camp.
holiday camp.
I've been to Butlins, though. I can't imagine it's that bad.
Yes, he told Jack Straw it was like a holiday camp. Hidey-hi. With drugs that cheap, they certainly were. I didn't write this. I didn't write this. I did one prisoner describe...
Did you do that in the middle of Shakespeare?
I did this. I didn't write this. I didn't write this.
This pun's gone down badly. I didn't write it. Married, sir, thy cop's got this too big.
I mean, there's a tremendous amount of snobbery about Shakespeare in so many aspects of it. When Sir John Gill, to talk like that, Sir John Gill, National Theatre, I used to goose him when I was there every day. Go down the corridors and goose the great actor, Sir John Gill. Oh, leave me alone, Brian, I'm a great actor. He said to Michael Brian, you know that Brian, blessed, he's a terrible man, but he's a lovely bit of rough. Yes, this is the news that inmates are enjoying such comforts in jail that they are ignoring chances to escape. Now, prisoners receive a wage for doing work in prison, and the Times featured the range of basic items they can purchase, such as 250 grams of Lynx shower gel. Just what every prisoner needs, something to make himself absolutely irresistible. A very bad taste, I'm so sorry. And so to round two, which this week is called A Blessed in Disguise. I'm going to disguise myself as a news story, and you have to guess what it is. Ian and Alan, this one's yours.
Were you being a squirrel, then?
Absolutely right.
It's a squirrel.
How did you know that?
The red squirrels were initially displaced by the grey squirrels.
Yeah.
And now, after years of dominance, the grey squirrels are being displaced by black squirrels. And they've gone and attacked the old grey squirrels. And they're taking over. And a lot of people are very worried. It's in the squirrel community, these black squirrels going over here, taking the greys nuts.
Would you like to see the photograph accompanying this story in the Sunday Times? This is the news that grey squirrels are being overtaken by a new mutant strain, the black squirrel. The interesting thing about these new squirrels is they're big, bushy, and have no trouble attracting a mate. Like squirrel, like human, I always say.
Have you been shagged by a squirrel? Is that what you're telling us?
Yes, and another animal has been in the news this week. What is all the fuss over Pierre the penguin?
Oh, he's bald. Nothing wrong with that. But he's bald all over, and therefore he's very cold in the Arctic. He is, and he's been made a special suit so that he can swim happily in the Arctic.
Not
Antarctic?
Antarctic,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Not that happily, though. He's being bullied by the other ones. Looking like a twat.
They'd made Pierre a wetsuit, and here it is.
Fantastic. You can go surfing now when it's really cold.
Look at them. All ganging up on him. No, on his own, see? You go and stand over there, freak.
Here's a blessing in disguise for you, Paul, and Marcus.
It's a new contraceptive campaign. I presume it's probably